Should students choose their object before the prompt, or should they choose the prompt before their object in the IB ToK exhibition? Now, IB have been quite clear that students should choose their objects before they choose the prompt for their ToK exhibition. However, I have always argued that students should choose the prompt and write knowledge arguments before they choose their object. In today's video, I'm going to run through the IB's argument, explain my concerns with it, and then I'll explain why I recommend choosing the prompt before the object. Welcome to ToK Today. Likes, comments and subscriptions always appreciated. IB's recommended approach to the exhibition has always been clear. They have always recommended that students choose their objects before they choose the prompt for their ToK exhibition. The reason for this recommendation is the driving question of the ToK exhibition. This question is that students should reflect upon how ToK manifests itself in the world around them. In theory, I totally agree with this approach. Of course, I hope that my students can also identify knowledge issues, knowledge arguments, and knowledge problems arising from the physical world around them. If students see knowledge issues arising from the objects around them and use this for their ToK exhibition, they will develop more informed and holistic ToK discussions. As such, in theory, I am entirely in agreement with the IB's recommendation. However, as we shall see later, even the IB acknowledges that there are problems with this approach. Now let me lay out to you an alternative way of doing it, which is that you choose the prompt and you write the knowledge arguments before you choose objects. Now, I recommend that students choose both a prompt and write three knowledge arguments before they choose their objects for their ToK exhibition. And my recommendation is the exact opposite of IB's recommendation.
Oh.
And it's born from the experience of doing the exhibition with students in the past few years. My experience of letting students choose their object first, as IB recommends, is that when they come to write their commentary, they often find that the objects don't fully link to nor illustrate the prompt and the knowledge arguments. Then they have to go back and they have to change their objects to more appropriate ones. Now, of course, this could be a deficiency in my teaching.
Oh no!
I'm clearly not able to develop the desired reflective capacity of my students. Therefore, if you are in any way like me and wish to find the most effective way to optimize teaching time for the theory of knowledge, then you may also want to front-end the process by fitting knowledge arguments to objects as I do. Now, there's a further reason why I ask students to choose the prompt and write the knowledge arguments before they choose objects. And that's because in order to access the higher marks in the ToK exhibition, students have to justify the inclusion of each specific object in the exhibition. The May 23 subject report says that this justification is a stronger and more detailed explanation of the link between the object and the prompt. That's on page 11. In reality, this is a specific knowledge argument linking that specific object to the prompt. Therefore, a shortcut to getting into the higher mark range is for students to identify these knowledge arguments at the beginning of the exhibition process. And this is why I advocate writing knowledge arguments before choosing objects.
Tell it, Daniel.
So we have two different pieces of advice. IB, the purists, doing the way that ToK should be taught, and then me, a sort of more pragmatic crack to trying to get round some of the real world issues of delivering this exhibition, which is part of a pass-fail requirement, so it's important that they get good marks on it. So can we come to a compromise? Well, yes. The compromise is that specificity is the real issue here. On page 15 of the May 2023 subject report, IB do recognise that choosing the prompt first can also lead to valid and high scoring marks. They say students may start with a prompt which they find particularly interesting and have ideas about the objects that they will choose. And this is an equally valid approach. What matters is the thinking that goes with these approaches. Now, on reading successive subject reports over the years and the notes for examiners, we find that the important issue to do with the objects chosen for the ToK exhibition is specificity. The IB are recommending choosing objects first because they think that if students choose the prompt first, they are more likely to choose generic objects and write generic commentaries, which is a bad thing. In the last few subject reports, they've explained in some detail the difference between a generic use of an object and a specific use of an object. Just search the subject report for the words Family Bible, and you'll find this example in the May 2023 subject report. Or click on the blog post link in the video description for a full explanation of what is meant by a specific object. So in summary, if your students can easily see the ToK issues manifest in the world around them, then ask them to choose objects before they choose a prompt and before they write the object-specific commentaries. But if your students find it challenging to see ToK issues manifest in the world around them, then ask them to choose prompts and to write knowledge arguments before choosing specific objects in order to write specific commentaries. The specifically important point is the specificity of the specific object specific to the specific prompt. Stay specific, my friends.